Diabetes Revolution podcast with Dr. Sarah Townley, the type 2 diabetes coach, clinical pharmacist, and mom of 6 angels. You don't have to struggle and fight with your blood sugars for the rest of your life. I'm here to teach you the skills you need to control and even reverse this disease. There is such a thing as getting off your meds and creating a future free from diabetes. And you can have it too. Let's get down to business. Hi, my friends. I'm back today for another episode with you. I hope that by now you are starting to get to know me. I have been having a wonderful birthday experience. I just turned 40 and I went to Phoenix with some of my girlfriends last week and had an amazing, relaxing, super fun time just enjoying the warm weather because you guys know I'm from Billings, Montana. So that was a very welcome climate change. And while I was lounging by the pool and going for a hike, my family was in the cold, but you know what? They weren't suffering because those kids were out in the backyard skiing in the dark. Actually, yeah, that's what they were doing. My husband got a huge stadium light from one of our friends and set it up in the backyard. And we have this really big slope in our backyard that goes up to the rims. If you know what that is, if you've been anywhere near Billings, then you'll know what the rims are. But they're pretty much these huge cliffs behind our house. And my husband has this light set up in the back because it gets dark so early, right? And they got a whole bunch of snow last week right before we left town. And we're able to enjoy their new skis and their new equipment and just play in the snow. And then when I got home, we got a puppy. You guys know if you've had a puppy that this is a major event. We got a golden retriever puppy and her name is Mabel. My kids are delighted. It's probably their big Christmas present. They couldn't be happier cuddling and loving on this puppy, but it definitely changes your day-to-day stuff and has you thinking about things that you weren't thinking about before. So that's what's going on in my life. I hope you all are looking forward during this holiday season to something special too. And today I want to spend some time talking about what's possible for you and sharing some experiences from some of my clients to help you get inspired, okay? So step one of any change, step one of any transformation is really seeing what's possible for you, right? Like you could have this thought like, oh, it could be different. My future or the situation that I'm in right now could be different from what I thought it was going to have to be. You might have the thought, oh, I actually have this whole other option that I wasn't aware of. There's a podcast episode from October I did called You Have Options. Because for many of you, understandably, you didn't know you had options. You thought the only option that you had was to follow your doctor's instructions, take those medications, and do the American Diabetes Association diet and have diabetes for the rest of your life. So the first step for you to make a change is to see that you have this whole other option. And then you start to ask yourself the question, can I have that? Is it possible for me? Believing that it is possible for you is step one. And then step two is making a decision if you want that and are going to go get it, and then commit to that decision. One of the most common reasons why people don't decide to change is because they think it works for other people, but not me, right? Why? Why do we do that? Because most of us have this underlying belief that we're different, right? And the thought I'm different from other people equates to the thought there's something wrong with me. You might have the thought, I'm not disciplined enough, or I'm too far gone with this problem to change, or I always give up, or I always fail, or I don't deserve to have a healthy body, Regardless of what the underlying thought is, it typically boils down to believing that something is wrong or something is different about you. And then we blame ourselves, we shame ourselves a lot of the time, and then we don't do anything from that place, right? We fail ahead of time because we don't even try. And I want to tell you that all of us have these kinds of thoughts. We all have thoughts that something is different or wrong with me. And it always helps to uncover what is underneath that thought and notice how believing that shows up all over your life. Because how you do one thing is how you do everything. Once you start to see that you have some thoughts about yourself that are driving you everywhere in your life to not show up and get what you want, once you see what the thought is, you have the ability to change that thought. You can teach yourself why that belief is not true, right? You don't need discipline, for example. Discipline isn't required for you to be able to change your life. You aren't too far gone, right? I have a whole podcast on that. So you can start to question that belief that something is wrong with you, and then you can see how it's creating results in your life you don't want. And then you get to choose new true thoughts to believe instead, so that you're going to feel differently and take a different action to get a totally different outcome or result in your life. Today, I want to invite you to look at 2 clients who've worked with me in the last year that did reverse their diabetes or their insulin resistance when they had similar fears, similar beliefs that it wasn't possible for them either. So why do I want to do that? Well, because seeing that all of us, even the ones that are successful, have crappy thoughts and doubt and fear helps us as well. When we see other people who've been successful, have had similar challenges, have also experienced, lack of confidence, but in spite of that, decided anyway and created amazing results with the doubt, with the fear, it gives us the right to doubt our doubt. We start thinking, well, if this person can do it, then maybe I can do it. We give ourselves permission to believe it might be possible for us too. And if we can get past step 1 of a transformation, then we can go to step 2 and step 3 and step 4 until we're the ones that are the testimonial. We're the ones that are the example of what is possible. And that is what I want to spread far and wide across the globe. I want to spread inspiration and hope for people. And then I want to empower people by providing the strategies that work. That's my mission. I believe every one of you out there who is suffering with type 2 diabetes, who are not getting the support that you need, who feel confused and feel overwhelmed, who are afraid of what's going to happen and feel very alone where they are, and the ones that are blaming themselves for this problem. I believe every one of you can do this work and get results beyond your greatest hope. I believe that you can prove to yourselves that you can have a future free from type 2 diabetes. I believe every one of you can become the person who is your own best advocate, who is your own answer to your problem. And it's my greatest reward and satisfaction to guide you through that process. And so I want to introduce you to 2 people, Reed and Barb. I'm going to start with Reed. Reed hired me at the very end of 2020 at about 61 years of age. He had had diabetes for 18 years at that time, and by the time he had found me, he was confused and he was feeling pretty hopeless. He'd gotten worse and worse with one new health problem after the next, and was on a slew of medications, including 4 injections of insulin per day. He said, I just want to feel better. And he was depressed and anxious. And he actually had a really hard time with believing that my program would work for him. I remember that it took him 2 consults and 2 weeks to decide to take a chance on himself and say yes. Working with Reed was such a joy. He's an analytical mind like my own. And once I started to fill in his knowledge gaps, right, like how his body works and how the disease process happens and how food will drive that process forward or heal the body, once he learned that, he took massive action. At 9 weeks, Reed was off all of his insulin. Again, I just want to draw your attention to the fact that your body has a miraculous ability to heal itself. Every one of you. His results were nothing less impressive and rapid. After struggling almost 20 years, he lost over 50 pounds. He got off all of his insulin and a couple other medications. And he had a normal A1C, and he felt like a completely new person, you guys. He said at the end of our 4 months together, for anyone who doubts what you are capable of, our mind is the treasure trove of thought processes that needs to be retrained and reimagined. I know this because I am living proof that even though we all may doubt the limitless possibilities, you have everything to lose and so much to gain. There are so many fads, gimmicks to take pills or use magic creams, but in truality, my new word, it all starts with the brain and how to gain strength and trust in your inner self. To do nothing is really not an option anymore. Sarah's taught me that I set my own goals, establish my own limits, and define how far I want to go with eliminating medications and so on. The choices are mine and mine alone. These words really make me so incredibly satisfied because it truly is all about becoming the answer to your own problem, knowing the solution for yourself, and then making that happen. When I think about how close Reed was to believing, no, it's not possible for me in December of last year, I can really appreciate the cost of what was at stake because I got to see what he created. We often forget to consider the cost of doing nothing in the light of what if we were successful. What would we lose if we never even tried? Consider that now. What is the cost to you of staying the same? And what would you lose out on if you were successful in reaching your goal? It's so amazing to stop and just really take stock of that. Okay, so now let's talk about Barb. So Barb is a person who doesn't mess around. When she has a problem, she goes all in. She's totally committed the moment she knows she has the problem. She's very systematic and she's relentless. But when she came into my world of coaching, she was still a little hesitant. It was expensive for her, and she doesn't like to pay money unless she's highly confident that she's ready and that it's going to work. So Barb was only in the pre-diabetes range of blood sugars, but she had a strong family history of diabetes and knew that it's something she needed to watch out for. So when the news came and she received the diagnosis of pre-diabetes, she jumped right all over it. She started with me in the first week of August, and by the second week, she was seeing results. She said, all that I have implemented has worked amazingly well, and I have only touched the surface. By the end of month 2, she was almost always in the normal blood sugar range. And at the end of 3 months, she was seeing blood sugar readings all the time that equate to an A1C of 4.7%. She lost like 10 pounds, saying she lost weight in places she did not know was possible to lose weight in the process of working with me. And she said, "Because of you, I feel in control. You unlocked the mystery for me and set me free to know what to do so easily now to be able to not worry about getting diabetes." You guys, it actually gives me goosebumps to reread her words. There's just no way to put a tangible value on such an intangible gain as this experience. The experience of being in control. The experience of no more worry. To feel free. Oh my gosh, that is freaking amazing to me. I get super, super pumped. So now I want to tell you about how you can have this too. I'm doing something special. I want to open up my schedule and receive 5 new clients who want to change their lives with me in 2022. I get super pumped when I think about taking 5 of you on this journey and changing your lives with me in this way. I'm going to add to my current schedule of 10 clients, 5 more starting in the new year. So the new year for many of us makes this opportunity for a new decision, right? We feel like we have a new slate. We can start fresh. And for a lot of us, what we do is we make a big like New Year's resolution, right? We're going to change. We feel very motivated. We get excited. We get this plan together. We're at the beginning and we have all this energy behind us. And then we start taking action. Maybe we start seeing some results early on, right? But inevitably, our old selves with our old same daily challenges comes into view. And for many of us, we slip back into old patterns. And when we start seeing that we're recreating our old results, many of us give up. My clients don't fall into this because as a coach, I understand that all the choices and all the results start in the mind. I'm skilled and have worked with so many people who have the same thoughts and the same feelings and the same actions around food, around medication, around their bodies and their lifestyles, that I know how to help you create change from the origin of the problem, which is always in your thinking. If you know that you are your biggest obstacle to solving the problem of your diabetes or your weight, you need a coach to help you get out of your own way. You need a coach to not only teach you the tools to reverse your disease, but to help you apply them consistently until you reach your goal. And that is what I do. So I'm offering free 1-hour consultations from now until December 30th. In this 1 hour with me, you get all my attention and you get to experience what a coaching session feels like before you decide to work with me. You get all my knowledge, you get all my experience, and you have me looking at your unique situation. And I'll tell you what I think that it's going to take. I'll tell you what I think are your biggest obstacles. And it's totally free. It would make me so happy to meet you, to listen to you. For some of you, this may be the first time anyone has ever actually heard you when it comes to your diabetes. It would make me so happy to serve you in that hour and to offer you a new option. So how do you get a free consult with me? Well, I'm going to put the link in the show notes. So you can always go back to the listing in this podcast and find the link to send me an email. You can email me directly at the email address, Sarah, S-A-R-A-H, so there's an H at the end, at sarahtownley.com. sarah@sarahtownley.com. And Townley is Townley. There's also an easy way to contact me on my website. sarahtownley.com is my website, and you can just find the contact me form and send me a quick note. In that email that you send me or that contact form you send me, all you have to say is, "Hi, I want a free consult." And I'll email you back within the next 1 to 2 business days, and we'll arrange a time that works really good for both of us. All right, I hope that any of you out there who have been waiting for this moment to make a decision, to think it could be possible for you, to believe that you deserve this option, I hope any of you out there who are sick of staying the same, having this problem, and not figuring it out, and are ready to have somebody in your corner, somebody on your side, a guide that can show you exactly the way, I hope that you will send me an email and ask me for a free hour with you. I would be so happy to meet you. And then we can talk about what needs to happen for you to get what you want, because that's what I want. All right, guys, I am so excited for you. I'm excited for 2022. And I look forward to seeing you on the next podcast. High five for tuning in with me today. You are getting smarter and stronger when you show up for yourself this way. You can get more free tools to help you control type 2 diabetes on my website, sarahtownley.com. And if you're serious about ending your struggle with diabetes, join my membership, The Diabetes Revolution, where you work with me in a community of people just like you. See you on the next episode.